Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the latest installment of the Brick Marketing Live podcast, where we talk about all things digital marketing, AI marketing, SEO, content marketing, social media, industry trends, and things that we feel are very important that you should all know about. So I would like to welcome the Brick Marketing team, Catherine and John. Thank you for joining us. So let's get started. First topic of today is an article actually from Search Engine Land. What 1 million keywords reveal about AI's impact on search. So I thought this was a really great article. And it basically, in a nutshell, and I encourage everyone read it at Search Engine Land. It's according to Search Engine Land, it takes about a 9-minute read. So it's pretty in depth. But basically, it was a large study study essentially that analyzed search behaviors in which industries are increasing demand from traditional SEO to AI search, and which ones aren't by industry. Tons of great data here. I think, and rather than kind of getting in the weeds, kind of talking about it, because there's so much great data here. I think the end result that I see is something that we've seen at Brick Marketing with our clients, which is search is redistributing, not dying. I mean, it seems like for maybe about 10 years or so, or maybe longer, I always see these, industry folks always saying, oh, SEO is dead, SEO is dead, SEO is no longer effective. That's not the case. Search is search, like we've been talking about, and search is redistributing, not dying. So, yeah. So, Catherine, John, what do you all think on this one?
Yeah, we've been observing for a while that people's search behavioral patterns appear to be shifting and changing because of AI, but that has all just been observation up until now. Now, data and studies and things are coming out that basically validate what we've been seeing. And I feel like this article shows some nice information that gives us some concrete data for what we've been observing for a while now.
Yeah, yeah, it truly does. John, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. It's just the way that people are searching is completely different, and I feel like that goes, deeper into just overall patterns with how people are how people are using LLMs and all that sort of stuff to find information. Um, and yeah, it's interesting to see how now there is people reporting on that, and there is actual data to support that.
Yeah, yeah. It's so again, I encourage everyone to check it out on the Search Engine Land website. Moving on, next article is one from the MTC Insights for Modern Marketers website, entitled Short Form Video Ads Leading B2B Marketing Conversions in 2026. I thought this was wonderful because what it's doing is it's essentially talking about B2B marketing, specifically how traditional marketing strategies that have previously worked really well, demand generation type activities, have lost their edge in today's Gen AI kind of world that we're in. And specifically, what it talks about is that video ads, short form video ads, tend to be doing really well from a conversion perspective. I mean, we're seeing it with clients. We're seeing it with clients. We're seeing it in our own social media, not necessarily maybe in the lens of ads, but short form videos for B2B actually work extremely well. And that's something, again, that's very refreshing to see, because for years we've heard from our B2B clients many, kind of like the same thing over and over, which is, oh, video doesn't really work for our industry. It's really boring. It can't possibly work. Well, now thanks to AI, it is working. People are, especially in the B2B world, they're craving real connection. And even if that means in short form video format, whether it's a video ad, as this article, alludes to, but also just in general from a social media perspective, that short form videos do work on the B2B side of things. So what do you both think on this? Care to chime in?
I I feel that video has always had the potential of doing well, but prior to this AI era, it has taken a lot of resources to assemble a video. And
Hmm.
now with technologies changing, not necessarily even because of AI, but now with technologies changing and the process getting easier, it's gotten more accessible, but also the human connection element too. Having a person sit there and talk
Right.
is a surefire way to prove that you're not generating, it's not AI generated content. And people want that authenticity.
I agree. I agree. And I think your point about, um, it's the barrier to entry, I would say, for videos is a lot easier now. I think all
Mm-hmm.
these wonderful AI tools, literally every AI platform helps with videos, whether it's editing, whether it's, removing different, me even saying, removing little things like that, or creating transcripts, creating subtitles and videos, even the video production pieces
Yes.
themselves. Like John, all the stuff you work on for Brick and our clients. I mean, all of the tools that you use, they're awesome tools. 5 years ago, it was so labor intensive for us to, include video in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's great. I really think it's great. And it's nice to see the industry starting to really kind of catch up on that, hey, it works great. So,
Yep.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, not only that, but people are just watching videos, especially short form, all day, whether they're, on a bus or train or something like that, or sitting
Yeah,
on their couch. So, in since the videos are so short, they're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. So it's just a place for you to be. And I think
right.
that if you're posting short form content, you're just going to show up in the right places at the right times. So it makes sense that a lot of people are starting to do content in short form.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I believe that this trend will continue. No doubt, especially where we know, for instance, video on YouTube helps from an AI perspective, from an AI search perspective. Video on Reddit helps as well, and content on Reddit helps. So it'll be interesting to see. But again, this is just really, really a positive thing, I believe. So moving on, next is an article on our website. But before we get to that, I just want to remind everyone that we are streaming this live, the Brick Marketing Live podcast. We stream it live on the Brick Marketing website at brickmarketing.com/live. Also, this will be available later today on all major podcast platforms. So I recommend everyone that finds this in any way, shape, or form, follow, tell all your colleagues, tell all your friends that are interested about the Brick Marketing Live podcast. Essentially, just go to any platform, search for Brick Marketing, and you'll find it. So, moving on is an article on the Brick Marketing website. Why AI search visibility is a business advantage. And the gist of this article that we published essentially talks about how AI search is a new emerging and is here, right? Marketing medium. We talk about this over and over and over, but it absolutely is a business advantage. I can't tell you how many companies that I see, not just you know companies themselves, but agencies, colleagues, other firms. AI search isn't even on their realm, right? Like I've seen it literally, other marketing agencies, digital marketing agencies, SEO firms, they don't even mention AI in the mix. Like we know that SEO is SEO, but AI, it's a different medium than SEO. What works for us traditional modern SEO doesn't necessarily work as well for AI search. The point is, businesses should be investing in this. And we sound like a broken record. Literally, we say the same thing over and over because it's true. We still see so many companies that are reluctant and hesitant and quite frankly, I believe afraid of change, afraid of a new marketing medium. But look, the way we see it and the way our clients see it is it's a business advantage. You want to be where your competitors are and aren't. And if not a lot of larger companies and enterprise companies are ramping up their AI SEO or generative engine optimization or answer engine optimization efforts, you absolutely should. And so that's the point of this article on the Brick Marketing site. So So Catherine, John, if you wouldn't mind chiming in on this one.
So it takes forever for a lot of businesses to implement something new. I understand that. It has to be in the budget.
Right.
It should have been in the budget for this year. We're in,
Yep.
we're midway through the year, a little bit more than that at this point. So it's time to get it in the budget. If
Right.
you really can't carve out the space for it for 2026, do it for next year.
Right.
But I'm not going to say it's too late because it's never too late, but you want to get there before your competitors do, just
Well,
like this article states.
it's so true. And here's the thing, like SEO, like content marketing, like email marketing, like social media marketing, they're all building process type marketing mediums. So what that means is they compound results and they take time, especially, if your company's B2B or even if it isn't B2B, if it's B2C and you have a longer sales cycle for your products or services that you're selling, right? By the time, it could take 6 months to ramp up your efforts properly for AI search and having a good citation program, having a content marketing strategy that aligns with SEO and GEO and the outcomes that you're looking to accomplish from a business perspective takes time to do all of that work and implement it. And it's not a quick thing. It's not advertising. So the point is, the quicker you start that process, the quicker you'll see results on the back end of it and actually see growth and outcomes that you want to accomplish.
Yeah,
So,
and that doesn't necessarily mean you'll have to spend money. You might have to carve out some time to start
right.
thinking about these things, and it isn't necessarily going to be a money thing. It depends on your situation, but you do have to use resources for it. So,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh
start
yeah.
now.
Start now. And also, it's changing. Just because something is changing quickly doesn't mean you don't do it. That means you want to get in on it, but then, work with companies like us, quite frankly, that are experts at this, that can help you as it evolves and adjusts and changes, which it's most certainly going to change in the next 6 months, next year, next 2. It already has a year ago from where we were a year ago to now. So, but now, again, the time is now, literally. So, John, what do you think on this one? Get your
Yeah, I
thoughts.
think the good thing, especially for people who are a little bit hesitant or a little bit late to the trend, so to say, is that if you already have good SEO, you already have a good basis to jump off of, and you don't have to invest, like Catherine said, a lot of money into it. You just have to sort of go in and retool what you already have to fit better for AI search, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily, an incredible money sink or time sink. You just have to be intentional about how you're doing it, and even just getting like a basic level of AI search visibility is going to be helpful in the long term, and just
Yep.
starting.
Absolutely. Agreed. Moving on. Next, article from Search Engine Journal. Great article. Should I block AI crawlers or measure their value first? So, this is an interesting article. So, for those of you that don't know what the heck we're talking about, the AI, like search engines crawl content. The AI agents are bots essentially that their learning mechanism that's different, right? It's not algorithmic in nature, but they actually crawl content on your website at different levels. And so this article goes into the details and talks about the different types of AI crawlers. There's an AI training bots, search indexing bots, user triggered fetches, and then it gives a whole scenario about blocking AI bots. So those of you that ask, well, why the heck would I want to block it, right? If I'm doing all this work, optimizing, right, and having an AI SEO or a generative engine optimization or answer engine optimization type of strategy, why would I want to block them? So where this is stemmed from are publishing type websites. So publishers that publish content that are informational in nature, news websites, blogs that have massive amounts of content that essentially have taken a hit in traffic from SEO, right? This concept of zero-click search, which we talk about, and AI kind of eating into their kind of market share of traffic. Now, in my opinion, if you're generating revenue on your website through advertisements, then you may want to look at something like this because you may not be getting credit. They may be utilizing your content that you've spent a lot of time, effort, and resources building, and you're not getting any traffic or compensation from that. But even if you are, even in many scenarios, and I would say if you're not an advertising supported site, in my opinion, let the crawlers crawl your site. Let the AI bots crawl your site. Because the reality is, even if you don't get that initial traffic now, what you're getting is brand visibility. What you're getting is you're building your brand and you're associating it contextually at a massive scale. And so, in my mind, like on the Brick Marketing website, for our clients, I would never want to block, my opinion, an AI crawler. Why do you want to mess with that? That's my opinion. Again, if you're if you own a large blog or an informational type site that's advertising supported, and you get a few million uniques a month on your site, and you know that, okay, since AI, the advent of AI answers and all the AI LLM platforms out there, because of that, I'm not getting, Gemini, people going to chat in Gemini, and I'm not getting the traffic anymore. And you have direct evidence of, a traffic hit, blocking those crawlers. What's going to happen? You're still not going to get that revenue back, right? What's going to happen, right? Not, now you're just not going to be cited as much, which again, I don't see as, I see as a very short-term type of short-minded thinking, I would say. I don't know. My opinion on this, I mean, it's a great article. It brings a nice debate, in my opinion. But I personally wouldn't block any AI crawlers on any website. But I don't know. Catherine, John, what are your opinions on this?
I'm trying to figure out the motivation behind why somebody would even think that they need to block it, because all the evidence that we are seeing suggests that in order to take ourselves to the future and to the next level in our marketing and our visibility, we need to embrace AI, and we would need to let the crawlers do their thing.
Right.
However, there are special exceptions. There always will be. One that I can think of is if there's perhaps some outdated content on a site that you
Yep.
don't want the crawlers to touch, because we know from experience that that can cause the drift that we discuss all the
Mm-hmm.
time, some inaccurate information. Also, if content is behind a paywall or something like that,
Right. Right.
a block to the crawler is going to be good, because you don't want people to get that information through a AI answer situation or something. You want that information to be protected. Other than that, I would say if you have a business, you want your content seen, because AI needs to see it. They need to see your website as the most accurate source out there for who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
And you can't block that.
I think an analogy to this, Catherine, is how in Google Search Console, from an SEO perspective, you can block countries from,
Mm,
right? That's an exact analogy. I don't recommend blocking countries. So, like, for instance, on some of our client sites that are large sites, we've had spam issues from certain countries. And how do we deal with that? We don't go to Google and block that. Why would we do that? We go to the server level, go to the CDN, and have the CDN block them right away, like a Cloudflare or something
mm.
like that. You can block those countries, and so I think it's a very similar scenario on this. We'll just let it go, leave it open. And if you're worried about monetization, I mean, it's just this is not the way to go about it. My
Right.
opinion. John, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I'd say for
Anything to
like
add?
95+% of businesses, you're gonna benefit from crawlers and showing up in AI answers and stuff like that. But I think that for a very like certain type of business or type of person who might have their own website or whatever, it might not be good for them. Like you said, paywalled content and things like that. But also maybe if you're an artist and don't want your art to be training AI models so that they can replicate your art style or things like that, you might want to consider blocking them, because that would, directly hurt, how you make, your money, or the perceived quality of your own work if AIs are able to scrape and then copy what you've been able to
Mm-hmm.
create.
Exactly. Agreed. Good point. Moving on. Next is an article, a really good one from Forbes, Forbes.com. 5 reasons why identity is becoming B2B marketing's most critical asset. So let me read through it. This is a great article. It says, first key point is B2B marketing systems aren't built for today's buyers. It then goes on to talk about how we have more data than ever, but it's not connected. Attribution is often an identity challenge in disguise. And omni-channel success depends on continuity. Oh, that was a huge point. And identity will shape the next era of B2B marketing. And it goes in and talks about how connecting the customer journey will be a competitive advantage, that blurring the line between B2B and B2C audience strategies will continue to happen. So I think it's a great article. The key points here that really stood out for me is it's true. B2B marketing systems right now are not built the way people are shifting on how they buy, how they do business, and it's all related to AI. People are now, like in the B2B world, right? We see it with our clients. We've seen it for years now, actually, several years with our clients. That before in the past, you would have really great content and maybe a good SEO presence with some good CTAs, and maybe you launch a PPC campaign, and maybe do a little bit of trade show marketing. You have a white paper campaign thrown in the mix, maybe a webinar, and you're good. You're literally good. You really don't need to do much more than that. Your pipeline's nice and full, and in the B2B side. But now it's different. You need all of what I just mentioned, but on top of that, you need to understand who you are as a company. What does your brand look like, right? Attribution is true. It's hard to attribute where leads are coming from on the B2B side of things right now. You know, Google is actually doing a good job. Google Search Console is rolling out AI search visibility reporting in Google Search Console, which is great. But again, it's not tying it all together. You can't easily go into a platform and say, oh, all these conversions came from AI search. Not the case. It's taking the traditional B2B funnel and flipping it on its head completely, upside down, completely. Where it's like, okay, someone may see, and this is why we advise our clients, investing in branding is essential today. Investing in multi-channel prong approach to your digital marketing and all your marketing is essential. But then understanding that, hey, just because your SEO isn't driving the traffic it used to or the leads it used to, you still need that good presence. That's a credibility factor. Someone, your potential customers are seeing your brand there. They may not click, they're seeing it. They then go to Chatter, Gemini, or Claude. They're searching, doing research, deep research, not surface level, but deep level research. They're seeing your brand come up in overviews. Then they see your brand. It's not linked. They do it to direct visitor. So the point is, I think that B2B marketing has always been slower to change. It has, where B2C tends to be at the forefront for 2 reasons. One, it's lower dollar value products and services. And typically there's much shorter sales cycles, right? If someone is looking to, is promoting a plumbing company, for instance, or a heating company or something like that, that has, right? Like it's like, okay, your heating system or your AC system doesn't work. That's an immediate fast thing. That's not there may be people that are researching for future, like, oh, we need a new furnace, but they usually doesn't get to that, once it gets to that critical point, then they need to go and they need to research and get it done fast. B2B, to a certain extent, tends to be a lot longer, higher dollar value, longer sales cycle. So the point is, I think this is a great article at Forbes.com, but B2B marketing is definitely slow. But those of you that are B2B marketers, definitely continue to innovate, continue to test, continue to invest in all these new marketing mediums. Just because it's new, nothing to be afraid of. It's like you have to test it, continue to evolve your marketing. So Catherine, John, what do you both think on this one?
Prior to AI intervening on the way we gather information, we have been lulled into a false sense of security that all of the things that had worked will always work.
Mm-hmm.
this means our identity too. We let our identity and our branding sort of not slip, but we haven't really looked at it or identified it or made any changes or made sure it was strong enough until it became crucial because
Right.
AI requires that you have a strong brand in order to be visible.
Right.
So we're seeing that all of these marketing activities that we probably should have been nurturing and working on all along, now we're at the point where we've sort of been coasting, and
Yep.
we as a collective, not us necessarily because we've helped our clients do this all along, but um, now all these things that we maybe have let slip, we shouldn't have let slip in the first place. Now
Right.
it's become important to look at it again
Right.
because it's important again. But we always needed identity. We always needed strong brands to
Hmm.
have a place in our market. And we just need it more now than ever because of how important it is for AI visibility.
Hmm. Absolutely. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely who you are and what you do is the most important thing in like the time of AI, right? Because
Hmm.
that's how AI also knows you, right? It's going online and figuring out who you are and what you do. And if it's not consistent everywhere, it's going to get confused. And
Yep.
that's why that's becoming more and more important in that sense. And then there's, directly to customers. For myself, I'm looking at who a company is rather than exactly what they do, right? I'm going to find a company that, or a list of companies that do what I'm looking for. Then I'm going to look at each one, who they are, and decide based on their identity who I'm going to choose,
Hmm.
especially during the time of AI where you can go to a website and not really know if it's done by people or the service that you're paying for is being done by AI, right? So you need to have those markers on your website or social medias that you are real people and your brand is real people doing real things, because if those, markers aren't there, then people are going to be turned away from it.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, it's great points. It's very, very true. Moving on, article on the Brick Marketing website. Does your marketing strategy drive business growth? So, the point of this article that we're trying to get to here is we see the same thing. It's amazing how many years we've been doing this, how many companies we've worked with, and not all, but some still don't get the fundamentals done correctly. And that is understanding what are the goals of the business, what are the goals of the marketing? What outcomes do you want to accomplish with every channel of your marketing, whether it's digital marketing or offline marketing? There, and as we said in the article, there needs to be a purpose, right? And so, how many times we see, companies and they, I would say, silo their marketing. They'll put them in little buckets and just leave them kind of fester on their own separately. They need to be integrated, working in a coordinated fashion over time, and they need to be tied in together. So I think this article is really trying to talk to business owners that may have forgotten some of the fundamentals, because let's face it, if you're C-suite, or if you own a small business or a mid-sized company, you didn't go to school for marketing, most, right? You're not a expert marketer. Sure, you understand how to sell, obviously, and you're a marketer, I'm sure, to a certain degree, and you have vision for your company, whatever it happens to be. But these fundamentals of marketing are so important. I don't care what business it is, how long they've been in business, whether they're a startup, well-funded, bootstrapped, or established brand. These are things that need to be revisited on a regular basis. So, Catherine, John, what do you all think on this one?
A lot of times, C-suite of a company doesn't quite understand what marketing does. I'm just going
Yep,
to say it. We've all
it's
seen
true.
it happen before.
We've talked about it, Catherine, over the
We've
years. We
talked
really
about
have.
it.
Yeah.
There have been some weird stories that have come across my ears of companies telling marketing to do random things like take photographs and create a Christmas card to distribute internally because, oh, marketing's in charge of communications, right? Okay. Well, I think the end result of what marketing does means that they are communicating, but what they
Hmm.
should be doing is communicating to your audience
Right.
to grab potential business. So if marketing is not aligned with business growth, then all it is marketing sitting and talking about a bunch of random things that look like it might relate to the company.
Right.
But if marketing is aligned with business growth, then it's all of the activities are going to be connected, and marketing should be used for what it could do best, which is attract potential customers, get them in your pipeline, get them going, get some leads, give your leads to the sales team. But if C-suite doesn't understand that marketing is part of the process of creating business growth, then that's a completely underutilized department and you're totally missing out on what could be possible.
Yep. Agreed. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a disconnect between, like, people who don't necessarily 100% know what marketing is, and they might think it's like one small bubble, or they also might like over expect that marketing can do different things, like Catherine was saying. And I think that as a marketer, you need to be able to communicate what that is and what you can potentially be doing. And a lot of the times you're going to get, you might get rejected, whatever. They might think that your idea or your strategy might not be for them, but I think that it's something that you still have to do. You have to keep coming with, new ideas and new
Mhm.
ways of marketing and doing these things to help, drive business. And even if you're not going to get the credit for it in the end, in the eyes of some people, I guess you still have that, self motivation in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point. Moving on. Next article, a really good one. Search Engine Journal. This is interesting. Google data shows AI search users moved past keywords. Your content hasn't. So great article. I recommend everyone check it out at Search Engine Journal. But I'll tell you, the point of this article is a very important point, which is content that's been created on many sites, right? Many people for years created so much content, and it was all geared to, sure, maybe for your audiences, which is we recommend. Obviously, always it should be for your audience first. That's the approach that we take at Brick Marketing. But many brands haven't taken that approach. They would just create a volume situation of content that may help them from an SEO perspective. And for years, it actually was viable. It did great. It would help you drive traffic. The problem is now we're in a point where all this awesome content that was created for many years used to do very well and was very effective from an SEO perspective. And now it's not effective as much from an SEO perspective, but now it's really not effective from an AI search perspective, from an AI SEO perspective. So the point is, how you solve that is what we do. We do this for our clients, which is audit your content. You need to audit your content, look at every piece of content, first of all, and say, is it still viable? Is it still relevant? Is it still accurate? Does it still align with the outcomes that are needed to be achieved? Business goals, marketing goals. Is it still fit into these? If yes, then it's very simple. It needs to be optimized, continue to stay optimized from an SEO perspective, but now be optimized not for keywords anymore, but for concepts that are relevant for people as the shift in behavioral shift is moving from traditional modern SEO to AI SEO, generative engine optimization, answer engine optimization, whatever you want to call it. But as that transition is moving, you got to use that content. So that's the advice here. The advice is, it's a great article, but the advice is audit your content, right? If something isn't driving any traffic, no longer is relevant, no longer aligns, either rewrite it or delete it. It's that simple. So, Catherine, what do you think? I know you're the content expert. So, what do you think?
Keyword rich content has not been a thing for a long time,
Yep.
at least 10 years, if not
Yep.
longer.
Yep.
There was a round Google did issuing penalties to content that displayed keywords too prominently or too stuffed with keywords. Keyword rich content has stopped working. However, we have been honoring that keywords are still kind of a thing. For me, for a long time, keywords have been used to guide like the topic of a piece, and
Mhm.
it's not been about the keyword for a long time. It shouldn't have been. But what is happening now is the intervention of AI on search has caused a complete behavioral shift that wasn't present even when Google was issuing all those penalties for keyword rich content. So AI is forcing us to really honor this and take seriously that keywords should not have been a thing for a while.
Right. Yeah.
We need to understand that we're always writing for our audience first, like you mentioned.
Mhm.
What does the audience need to know? And if we have stuck with that all along, the transition between AI search and SEO is going to be a lot easier on you. Let's just say it hasn't. Do the audit, see what content has performed, what
Mhm.
hasn't performed. But another factor is that what we're also seeing is sales cycle related. A lot of back in the SEO days, people were doing all of the information gathering pretty much on the site. So the quicker you can get somebody on your site back then, the better. And this
Mhm.
meant that a lot of early to mid sales cycle content, our blogs were filled with it because that's what was going to attract the people. Now with zero click search, they're not using our site to gather that early stage information. They're using AI search and they're trusting what AI is saying. So that's been a factor as well. So how do we navigate that? We figure out how can we alter our content style to honor the new audience, but we have to also make sure that if all of a sudden somebody tells us that questions are what works for AI content, we're going to end up in another pickle soon as that falls out of favor. So we can't keep embracing these new rules and change this and change that. But if we stuck to delivering the content our audience wanted to see all along, the transition is so much easier because people get annoyed with incessant questions.
Well, and that's a good point, Catherine, because it's not about, and we always talk about this at Brick, it's not about tactic, it's about
Mm.
strategy. And just like wheel spinning, like, oh, taking all my keyword rich content and oh, now let's make it into chunks of content and FAQ content, Q&A content. Oh, that's not working anymore. Now, what does AI want? AI wants this other type of content. You don't want to sit and be chasing. You want to naturally incorporate these newer strategies into your larger content marketing strategy. I think that's the point here. So, John, what do you think on that?
Yeah, and we talk about a lot about how like the mid and late sales cycle content is what people are going to look for on your website the most now, but it's still important to have that early stuff because
Yep.
what is the AI getting its information from? You still need that
Right.
content on there so people can do that early sales stuff through whatever chat GPT or whatever they're using to ask their questions. So it's
Mhm.
not completely get rid of all of your old, early
Right.
sales cycle stuff, rewrite it, retool it for AI, and then
Mhm.
it still has its use on there. Don't get rid of it.
I, I agree. I agree. Moving on. Great article from Marketing Dive. How brands can improve chances of showing up in AI search overviews. So, the high level overview, it says over 40% of brand citations in organic search results do not appear in AI overviews for the same query, and 28% of brands cited by AI do not appear in organic search results. It says YouTube videos are 4.3 times more likely to appear in AI overviews compared to search results, suggesting that marketers should invest in content on the platform to help AI visibility. Reddit is 3.9 times more likely to be cited in organic. And how a query is worded impacts how brands are representatives and overviews. When it comes to evaluation and how-to questions, brands are more likely to show up in organic search. Category queries are more likely to produce brand search results at a rate of 63.9% in AI overviews and 55.7% in organic search. So highly recommend everyone go and read the article at Marketing Dive. But the key takeaway here for me is that disparity, that kind of that difference of brands being cited and shown in organic search, but not in AI search. This literally goes to exactly what we've been talking about brands needing to invest in both AI search, generative engine optimization, answer engine optimization, and traditional search engine optimization. We are in that transitionary period, like we've talked about. Behaviors are changing, but that does not mean that SEO is dead. There's billions of people still search on Google. Billions of people still use YouTube as a search engine. So the point is, you want to be visible everywhere, but, and the approach that we take for our clients is we integrate it as one channel. We optimize for traditional search engines at the same time optimizing for AI platforms, AI overviews, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Copilot, Claude. We optimize for all of them and then build great quality content that resonates with audiences like we've talked about, but also helps in an SEO perspective and helps in an AI search perspective. That is what's needed. And this article literally proves it. This data proves it, that the approach that we take is literally the right approach. I mean, it's not about who's right or wrong, but this is literally his approach that works. Now, will this change in the coming years? Most certainly it will. But the point is, you don't wait for it to fully flesh out and change, because then your company, your brand, your results are going to be very much behind. So again, this is a great article at Marketing Dive. So yeah, Catherine, John, what do you both think on this?
This is great data. And for me, it helps support our point that you should never put all your eggs in one basket. We've been saying this
Yes.
for years.
Yep.
It's literally that point showing up in number form, because we should all have a comprehensive marketing strategy that covers everything. And there's overlap in activities, for example, strong brand, AI visibility. All of that makes one comprehensive strategy that covers everything. It should cover SEO. It should cover grabbing your audience in social media. It should cover AI visibility. And you need to do all of it, and you need to do all of it equally, so that you're not in a situation where you show up one place and not the other, for example, or if you do show up in one place and not the other, it's not for lack of trying. You have a presence and an attempt out there to be everywhere that you possibly can.
I agree. John, what do you think?
Yeah, and adding to that, look at what Brick does, right? So we have a YouTube channel where we're constantly uploading videos, and that's great for Gemini because Gemini is Google, YouTube is Google, right? But then where we're posting to Reddit daily, which we all know, ChatGPT loves Reddit, and some other LLMs do as well. So we're doing it as well, and it kind of it shows that we have good results in all the LLMs, so it kind of proves that we're doing this, you should be doing this as well.
Agreed. I agree. Next, so here's a great article. I mean, these are all really good articles, but this one's really good, on Search Engine Land, entitled "Why AI Deliverables Should Be Judged by Outcomes, Not Effort." I thought this was great. So let me tell kind of like the high level overview of this article. So, article basically talks about, and there's a poll that the author that wrote it essentially put on his LinkedIn, asking if an agency, right, or marketer, in-house marketer, used AI to create value and achieve the outcome that you're looking for, would it matter if they used AI or not? And 76% of people said no. So that means they don't care. It's about the outcome, so, which I think is fantastic. Because let me tell you, in Brick Marketing, as both of you know, but those of you listening, we use AI as a tool to help our clients to scale results, to test things and move things faster, but we do not use it as a replacement for expertise, right? So myself, Catherine, John, other members in our team, we're the strategists. We use our brain, our experience, our processes that we've spent decades developing and real experience and outcomes that we've achieved with real results before AI. We use all of that knowledge with modern techniques, but AI to help us move it faster. That doesn't mean we use it to write content, but we use it to help us come up with topics. So this is an example. We may use it for video editing. We use it for writing press releases. We may use it for coding. The point is, it's not about, those of you that are very like, oh, we don't want to use AI at all. Well, here's the thing. We have yet to have a client ask us, do you use AI? And we're transparent. We tell people, yeah, we do use AI for certain activities to help create things that are more efficient, to help get the job done a little bit quicker for you. But the net result of the guts of what we're doing is still from our brains, our expertise, because that's what you're hiring. You're hiring us to achieve those outcomes and results for you. So the point is, I think this was a great article, but so AI deliverables should not be judged by using AI. It should be judged by outcomes. And I think it's great, And I actually had someone not too long ago ask me it was a potential client, and they said, "Well, what if we didn't want to use AI at all?" I'd say, "No problem at all. Price is going to be triple because now, right, writing like a consulting document, right, that you don't need one of our professional copywriters to write." But if we have them write it, it's going to take 40 hours for them to write it. I can have AI write it, and it'll take maybe 2. Your choice. You want to play triple the price? Feel free. It's unnecessary though, right? So that's and I even see it. Like for instance, I went to a doctor's appointment not too long ago, and my primary care physician said, "Do you mind if I use an AI note taker?" I said, "Absolutely, use it." And what did I see? He was more engaged with me, talking about to me, right? And in the past, what would he be doing? He'd be sitting looking at a screen, not making eye contact, typing notes away, going through different things that he had to for the purpose of the doctor's visit. Now he was locked in and focused on what I actually came for. And it was just like he and I talking, and it was great. So the point is, and to me, I'm like, you're using AI to help you do your job better. We're doing it the same thing. So that's why I thought this was a great article. It was great someone's talking about this, because I think it should be talked about, and AI should be used in a responsible way. And I think the way we use it, many others in our industry are using it, is great. It's the right way to use it, not a replacement. So, Catherine, John, what do you all think on this one?
Yeah, you just need to be responsible. We've been in the industry for a long time. We know what we're doing. We know what
Right.
good looks like. You have to know what good looks like. If you know what good looks like, then by all means use an AI tool to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
Use AI to help you create an outline for a piece of content. Write the content yourself, but use AI to help you in the process to streamline it, make things easier. I use it for things like making lists of blog posts. That would have taken me generating a list from my brain of 50 to 60 article topics for somebody's blog maybe would have taken me 2 hours. Okay, the time is shortened. I go through, I tweak them, I look to see if they make sense. I know what a good list of blog posts look like.
Right.
Uh, you just have to know what good looks like, and then you can safely and responsibly use AI to make your life easier. Where AI is not good is just using it blindly without knowing
Yep.
what good looks like, without knowing if it's going to serve the purpose. But if you know what you're doing, you can definitely use it to save time. It's the deliverables that matter because it's your audience that you're connecting with.
Yeah.
And if the information is being delivered how they want to see it, whether you used AI or not to help save you some time, not to replace your brain, but to assist
Right.
you, like an assistant
Right. Right.
that
Yeah.
maybe you would have hired.
Remember we, and I know you both remember, we were at a trade
Yeah.
show not too long ago, and we saw this company, and they were literally an AI marketing company, and it was literally, they were like replacing. Remember, they said they were like bad mouthing
Mm-hmm.
traditional agencies, and it was like, that is the wrong approach, because what they're saying is, hey, get rid of your marketing agency, strategists, people that are experienced, and use these tools. Well, the people that were selling these tools, and it was very spammy, but sure, it was a lot less expensive, but I'm pretty sure the outcomes are not going to be good because they're
Mm.
using cookie cutter techniques, not real strategists. There's no real experience or knowledge there. They're just depending on what ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude says. It's like, yep, let's give it a go. That's not real marketing. That's not real strategy. And so I think there's a major difference between, like you said, Catherine, using as a
Hmm.
another set of hands to help you move faster, but you're still steering the ship. It's like navigation, right? Do you want to use a map to get to your destination, or do you want to use GPS? I don't use GPS. I know how to use an old school map. Do I want to pull it out and pull over, try to figure it out? Not really. Those days are long gone. So
Right.
uh,
That's so true. If
yeah.
we have the tool, use it. Let's use it. It's a tool.
Yes, but flip side, again, we could literally talk about this one topic for an entire podcast. I think we should one day. I think we should maybe do one Brick Marketing Live
Yeah.
podcast and just focus on like a topic like this. So much things we could talk about with this, but like I think. But on the flip side, you need knowledge too to use these tools, right? Because if you idly and I think that a lot of companies I mean, I know they are. They're rolling the dice with using AI to do everything with their marketing, and that's going to bite them. And just mark my words, and you both will remember this, and everyone that's listening and sees this will remember it. In a year or 2 years, Brick Marketing will still be here to help you pick up the pieces because you'll need it. It's
Right.
a nice way to say it. I mean, you will need it. Seriously.
Yeah, we don't know the backlash yet. That's why it's better
Not
to be
yet.
responsible and
Yep.
safe and understand how to use it as an assistant, not a replacement. Because,
Exactly.
for example, that company that we saw advertising, where are the people that use them to
Right.
replace the agency, quote unquote? Where are they going to be? They might be knocking on our door saying, "Ooh, we hired this company that did 100% AI, and now there are penalties and things that we have to
Well,
navigate."
it's honestly, Catherine, it's no different than like the offshoring of our work over many years. Companies that outsource to all these other countries at low rates, right? And then it was very poor quality work, very poor quality results. And then what? They came to companies like us saying, "Oh, yeah," and then disgruntled and upset about it because they got taken. Essentially, they wasted money, but what's worse than wasting money is time. In marketing, what's worse than wasting money is time because you can't get that time back. You can make the money back, you can't make the time back. So,
Right.
so John, what do you think? I want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah, so I completely agree. I think that a good example of of this is, well, first off, you need to be an expert at what you're trying to get AI to do to get good results. And a good
Yep.
example of this might be, you mentioned your doctor. Say you,
Yep.
I don't know, have some symptom of something. You're asking ChatGPT, oh, what could I have? ChatGPT is going to give you a whole list of things, including something that is like a 0.01% chance you have it, and you're going to die in 7 days if you do, right? But
Right.
your doctor might, for example, might use ChatGPT, and they're not going to think of that, because why would it be that, right?
Right.
They're they're going to go through the list, and they're going to choose what seems to be the most applicable to you, who you are, where you're from, whatever, what you may have. But in some cases it could also give them something that they may not have thought of, but they have the expertise to decide whether this is something that is something that you could have or not have. So you need to know and have all the background in whatever you want to use AI to do, whether it's marketing or being a doctor, or doing whatever it may be, right? So you need to have that background, because if you don't, you're just going to be led astray in some ways, and take advice that might not be actually good.
Yeah, great point. Great point. All right, let's move on because I love this topic. I keep talking about it, but we need to move on. Want to take a moment to remind everyone that the Brick Marketing Live podcast will be available later today on all streaming platforms. So, all major podcast platforms, just search for Brick Marketing. You'll find us. Tell everyone you know about it. Follow us. and review would be appreciated. So we would appreciate that at any of the podcast platforms. Moving on, article from Brick Marketing from our website. Aligning social media with B2B buyer journey, with the B2B buyer journey. So essentially what we're talking about here is B2B social media is different than B2C, right? So, but it still should be, understanding who your buyers are. I mean, it's amazing that we have to say this stuff in 2026, literally, about social media. How long has social media been around? We have about 20 years worth of data at this point in social media, right? And the fact that we need to actually talk about and remind folks that, you got to start with your target audiences, and you have to build familiarity and trust over time. And it should support all your other channels of marketing. These are key points here, because what we see many times, and especially in the B2B side, is, first of all, lack of consistency. I mean, how long have we talked about that? Of lack of consistent posting, lack of an actual strategy that supports everything else. And, B2B social media should be a foundational, reminding your audience, nurturing your audience of what your company is, who you serve, what products and services that you create. Period. It should not be a place of lead gen. Sure, certain companies might use like a LinkedIn, maybe like a PPC campaign in a LinkedIn for a lead gen tape campaign, but I have yet to see a B2B social media ad campaign other than on LinkedIn actually drive leads. Prove me if I'm wrong. I see it. I see them sometimes, and they're short term, and we've tested them for many clients over the years. But your organic B2B social media, you need that consistency. And another little note, and then John and Catherine want to get your thoughts. But another note is, just because you don't like a platform doesn't mean your brand should not be there. And this is something that I think, and I still see it. I mean, we've had clients literally, oh, we don't want to be on X. Okay, you don't like Elon Musk. I get it. But if your audience physically is that audience, the demographic aligns with it, right? And you have an established account with followers, why wouldn't you just promote your content that you're promoting on every other channel there too? To me, it's very short-sighted and an emotional decision, which there should not be an emotional decision when it comes to marketing. It should be based on the demographics and data and its goal of nurturing underlying. So that's my thoughts on that. So John, I'll start with you first. John, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I think that especially with what you said about, being not wanting to go onto like a platform because you don't like what, for example, like you said, Elon Musk.
Right.
I think that is very short-sighted, and you need to be everywhere that your audience is, because I mean, it's just another chance for you to get in front of somebody. And I think, for example, with social media, you should be looking at all the different platforms and really assessing which ones you should be on, ones that you might not be on, right? You might not have a TikTok account yet, but is your audience on TikTok? Would short form content work to reach
Right.
your audience, right? Is your demographic on Instagram? Is your demographic, do they tend to use Facebook more often? You need to go through all of these things and decide which ones you want to put the most effort into, but you should be on all of them,
All of
right?
them. All of
You
them.
should you
Absolutely.
should have
Yep.
some sort of content being posted on every platform, regardless of whether your audience is, going to be there a lot or not. You should have a presence there because somebody ultimately will be there eventually. But for example, we post video content the most. I would say our YouTube channel has long form and short form, whereas our TikTok might only have the short form, right? So you have to
Right.
have strategy for each and every platform, and decide which ones you want to put a lot more effort into and which ones that you're just going to do your
Yeah.
basic posts on.
Absolutely. And here, like you said, John, we're on TikTok, right? And we're B2B. And people are like, oh, TikTok's just for kids. No, it isn't. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. We're starting to see it, and I'm sure we're going to see it more and more. So Google recently created a Google profile, and it's only for influencers that have a certain number of thousands of followers or a certain number of streams. Seriously, there's a reason for this, because I believe in the next year, 2 years, we're going to start to see social media posts, content, and profiles literally show up in AI search. We're going to start to see it. So the point is, even if you're a small company, you're a small brand, you think, oh, that's not, I don't have millions of followers. You don't need to. Consistently post your content, connect with your audience, and you're setting yourself up for future too. Like I just said for AI search. So there's so many reasons to do it. So Catherine, what do you think really quick? Have a few more articles and we'll wrap for today.
What is your audience doing on social media? This goes for leisure and business. I feel like a brand needs to figure this out. A B2B needs to figure this out before they start posting blindly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Your business doings need to align with the buyer journey. True. And it's interesting how this article was published in June of 2026, and this is something we always needed to care about, but we're talking about it now, so that's good. But yes, what are people doing there? Because if people are doing something on social media, you need to always also be doing something on social media. Is your audience on TikTok? Maybe not, but they might be eventually on TikTok. Like they'll be there. They might be there after hours looking for a concert to
Right.
look at some of the content from a concert. And then if they see incidentally, oh, yeah, I was considering brick marketing earlier today while I was on LinkedIn. What do they have going on TikTok? Like you have to be everywhere. It's
Right.
just part of the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving on. Great article from Inc. Community isn't a marketing strategy anymore. It's a business model. So I think this is really a great article. I recommend everyone check it out on inc.com. Essentially, what it's talking about is how building an audience and building a community for your brand is the future. I agree with this 1,000,000%. B2B or B2C. So look, at Brick Marketing, right? You're going to use us as an example. Okay, we're B2B, right? We're a digital marketing agency in Boston. We offer services, training, consulting. We do a ton of educational webinars and workshops and trainings, and all free. We release, strategy guides for free on our website, and we write in our blog, and we send out a newsletter, and we share a ton, like we were just talking about, ton of videos, ton of different places, free information everywhere. What are we doing? We're building a community, a brick marketing, doing this podcast, right? Doing this, right? Like we're not getting paid to do this. I mean, we are, it's part of our job, but we're doing it, right? Like we're doing it to share our knowledge with other people because we're building a community. So I think that I agree with this 100%. This is how brands need to think moving forward, is you need to build a community, connect with real people in a real way, because that's what it's going to be about moving forward. It's not going to be about whoever spends the most amount in ad budgets. Yes, your branding is important and it's a necessity, but it's not whoever spends the most wins the most anymore. It's whoever has the best solid community, is transparent and real, I think is really the model going forward. And that's really kind of what this article gets to. And I thought it was great. And it's literally using us as an example. It works. And this is the approach we take for our clients and what we recommend. So Catherine, John, what do you all think on this one?
People are craving human connection, and they have been for a while. The reason for that is probably a lot to unpack. It's probably a combination of things. We've been inundated with social media for a while now. We had the pandemic. AI is blurring the lines between reality and electronic generated content. For whatever reason, we want human connection. And as marketers, this is something to keep in mind as we put together our marketing strategies. We need proof that people are behind the brand, and brands need proof that there are people receiving the message. So, community is what it's all about. And it always should have been about this, but for whatever reason, I feel like it's more important than ever.
I agree. John, what do you think really quick?
Yeah, I mean, how often are we at some sort of event and people come up to us and say, "Hey, I've seen your videos, I've seen your webinars, I've seen
Yep.
your podcast," right? It's all a part of that strategy. You have to be doing, all these different things to nurture your community, because when it's time for them, when you're somewhere that they are, they're going to come up to you and say something, and that connection's a lot more, it's a deeper connection than if you were just not really, trying to do that at all. And
Right.
I'd say now, with AI, like the example I used earlier, going to a website, not knowing who those people are, I'm clicking off right away because it's unclear whether they're real or they're a robot who's, you know, posting online or on this website. And being a real person and having a community is going to be very beneficial to you in your business, because people are going to have a connection to you rather than the service that you provide. It'll keep them coming back.
Yeah. And and really that's a great point. And I'll tell you, just to add to that, it's a long-term play too, building a community. It's not about making the immediate sale. It's about connecting with people, like you said, but also then they when they don't have a need right now, but you're nurturing for future, that they'll think of you like, oh, I've seen this company around. I, like you said, I've seen the videos, I've seen their webinars, I've seen their product, whatever, and now I'm ready to hire, and I'm going to think of them because they weren't trying to sell me anything. And I think that that goes far in today's world, truly. Moving on. Next, great article from Search Engine Land entitled How Competitors Target Your Branded Traffic with Google Ads. So I'm not going to get too deep on this. It's a pay-per-click advertising, Google Ads article. So I wanted to just kind of add this one in. What's interesting about this is this has been the age-old, do you bid on your competitors or do you not? My opinion is you don't do it, personally. Many reasons. One is I feel like it's a waste of budget. Some brands choose to say, okay, well, we want our brand to show up every time someone searches for a competitive product. The problem is if someone's searching for a competitive product, company name, or brand, they're looking for that product, company, product, brand, or name. They're not looking to a comparison for a different product. So to me, in my mind, you might be taking traffic away, but those aren't the right people. They're not going to convert. They're not thinking about using someone else. And if they are, they maybe never would have brought your product or service in the first place. So in my mind, it's almost like having, and I've used this age old analogy for years. Anytime we've had clients that have wanted this, I say, how would you feel if someone put a billboard, let's just say you have a storefront and someone put a huge billboard right on top of your sign entering your business? How would you feel about that? How would you react to that? Now, what your human nature is going to be, oh, now we have to defend our position. So now you're going to take money and give Google more money, spend more money idly. So my opinion, this is again just my opinion, and again, the article goes into how to do it. My opinion, I just want to talk about it. I don't think it's a good ethical business practice. I think it's spammy. I think it's unethical. I don't think it's good business. My personal opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So John, you go first. What do you think? And Catherine, what do you think? What do you guys think?
I feel like I don't have too much to say on this one.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I'm not too sure.
Okay. Catherine, what do you think? What do you think on this one?
I feel like it just doesn't feel good. It's not good
No.
business karma, so to speak, to really obsess over your competitors. What you should be putting your obsessive energy toward is how to achieve the outcomes that you want, not, oh,
Yep.
I got to bid this. Oh, this company's doing this.
Yeah.
This company's
Right.
doing that. Let's put this company in the thing. Maybe if you had a huge, huge budget, but even then, I just don't like the energy that obsessing over a competitor gives off. You
I
should
agree.
be 100% worried about yourself and your outcomes and leave
I
it at
agree.
that.
I agree. I agree. Moving on. Two more for today. The next one is actually from Sprout Social, a really great social media tool. Again, not really a plug, kind of a plug. We use them, so it's a great platform. Sprout Social. 9 social media marketing tips for small business success. So I'm just going to read them very quickly here. So first one: why social media is non-negotiable for small business marketing. Define your specific target audience. Focus on quality over platform quantity. Plan ahead with consistent content calendar. Lean into short form video content. Engage with your audience in the comments. Leverage user generated content. Partner with local micro influencers. Use data and analytics to pivot quickly. Streamline your workflow with the right tools. I think and then work smarter, not harder on social media. Great advice from Sprout Social. Great article on their site. And quite frankly, we agree with all of them. We recommend these exact tips to every client, to all of our social media clients that we manage their social media. Having that consistent approach is what wins every time. Consistency wins. Being structured and strategic, having that calendar. Yes, people might think it's boring, but guess what? The consistent approach is boring, but it's what works. The goal is not to go viral. If something's going to go viral, then let it go viral, but stick to your strategy. So enough said on that. I know we talked a lot about this today, so we'll just move on to the last article. Last one for today on the brick marketing side: why AI can't replace marketing experience. So again, we've talked about this today already, but this is our take on it on the brick marketing website. Is real marketing experience comes by achieving results, achieving outcomes over time, having actual strategic knowledge, and AI just can't replace that. Period. There's nothing else we can say in that, and I mean, they really can't. I mean, we've talked about it a lot today, but yeah, I mean, literally, like AI, the way we use AI again is we utilize it as a tool to help scale results, get results quicker for our clients and the campaigns we work on, but we do not use it as a replacement, nor do we recommend using AI as a replacement for real marketing expertise. So on that note, we've gone over today. So those of you watching us live, we thank you for taking the time this afternoon. We really appreciate it. Remember, check us out on every major podcast streaming platform tonight. Just search for Brick Marketing, follow us, leave a review for the Brick Marketing Live podcast. Our next time we will join you will be next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is July 15th at 3 p.m. So we will see you all then. Until then, we thank you very much, and thanks again.